السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. My name is Mourad Boash, Dr. Mourad Boash. Today I'm going to give you a presentation about the Silicon Valley or Arab Silicon Valley. Is it possible? Silicon Valley العرب هل هو حقيقة حقيقي؟ I'm going to talk about different topics. One of them is Silicon Valley and the model, like here in the US, in California. But before that, I would like to introduce myself. So I did my bachelor degree in computer science in Algeria, University of Mourad, University of Perpignan for master degree and PhD. And then I started a postdoc in France, and then a second one in Illinois, and one in Waterloo in compiler design embedded software in Toronto, and senior performance engineer. So started in Silicon Valley 2012, and then Verizon. Now I'm working at Artificial Intelligence Academy as a fellow here in the US, in California, or in Silicon Valley. So what we do at Intel Artificial Intelligence Academy, we teach people about artificial intelligence software and hardware, learn more about understanding more the client industry, startups, companies or large companies, developing solutions for artificial intelligence, and then share whatever we have at Intel with different companies or universities as well. So we have academic or we have a lot of courses in academia as well. So I do own Mubashir Silicon Valley, a Silicon Valley kind of a channel in YouTube talking about like technology, and also I invite guests. Most of them they are Algerian scholars here in the US or in Europe, and then we can share of the experience they have with Algerians, also for Arab community as well. So I have two companies. One is I am a co-founder of Limitless Learning. The founder is Dr. Sosan Shiddadi, who is Algerian as well, and I take care of everything which is artificial intelligence and programming, machine learning, and deep learning. It's Algerian startup for learning and e-learning that was built here in Silicon Valley, and then we try to work with Algerian universities and the companies to share the experience of Silicon Valley first, and also try to establish the same ecosystem that we have here in Silicon Valley. We do have another startup, Algeria AI, and this startup is to use artificial intelligence technology to solve real life problems in Algeria, Africa, and beyond. So it's more about infrastructure, using software and hardware, also teaching people within limitless learning about artificial intelligence. We do have a lot of projects and products: healthcare, environment, agri-tech, beauty tech. I can explain more about this project for another maybe presentation. I would like to talk about Silicon Valley ecosystem, why it's successful, what are the factors, what are the big players when it comes to Silicon Valley ecosystem. So Silicon Valley is an area which is on the west coast of the United States of America in California. The weather is beautiful, and then we can see the density of companies and universities. And these are the players, the most important players of the success of Silicon Valley. First, weather. Yes, it's beautiful. The weather is beautiful every day. It's sunny most of the year. So we have a lot of attraction from students over all the US and the world as well. A lot of Indians. We have a lot of Chinese. They would like to stay here to develop things, to create their startup, to be involved in big companies. And we have a lot of companies, kind of a good environment. Or we can use the local universities, well, and they are one of the top universities in the world and in the US as well. So the Silicon Valley is the south zone of San Francisco, located in California state. We're talking about 28 cities, a population of the 2.5 million. We have San Francisco, which is not far from San Jose, which is the capital of Silicon Valley. We are less than 1 million in San Francisco and 2.5 million in San Jose. And you can see in the picture the difference between Silicon Valley in the 70s, 60s, and the 60s and 70s, beginning of 70s, and kind of a recent picture. Silicon Valley is coming from silicon, and silicon is the name started in 1971 because of the silicon industry that we had. at that time here. Now we cannot do the fab in California because of the California law. And then also it's coming from the transistor where we used the silicon for invention to invent silicon, and it was in 1940, and it's used for high-tech companies. The name is used for high-tech companies because it's coming from the silicon industry to create, for example, processor CPUs here in the 70s. So talking about the Silicon Valley ecosystem, we're talking about universities, which is one of the top, maybe, so let's say the most important factor of success of the Silicon Valley. Startup, which is the player. So if we'd like to create a Silicon Valley ecosystem of entrepreneurship, we need to start with startup, and the startup is coming from, I would say, the maybe the bigger player comparable to startup is the large companies. We cannot talk about startups if we don't have large companies, and we cannot talk about large companies without talking about startups. So the game is to have both of them, and then sharing experience between both of them, and also when large company like the startup, they will buy the startup, and then it's going to be kind of another product, another project within the big company. We have accelerators, حاضنات, co-working spaces, and then we have the investors where we have a lot of money. So investors, we have different type of investing. It can be your family, it can be your saving, it can be angel investors, people external that give money for more equity or for equity of your idea or your startup. So essentially, we have six big players for the successful Silicon Valley ecosystem. Of course, Silicon Valley is not only in California. We have similar model of Silicon Valley over all the world. And you can see here, you can find it in China, you can find it in India, you can find it everywhere. Of course, I would say the success of these Silicon Valleys, of this ecosystem of entrepreneurship, is not similar to what we have in California. Even though in the US we tried to do another Silicon Valley, which is in the East Coast, you can see it here, around like North Carolina or Carolina states. But we was not that successful as we have it in Silicon Valley, which is in San Jose, the capital of Silicon Valley, in West Coast in California. When we compare to Algeria, because I would like to use Algeria as an example for Silicon Valley, or if we'd like to build something similar, Algeria is one of the top maybe countries in the world of when we talk about the number of universities and research. The platform is there. Now the quality we need to discuss, and we need to work together to actually develop that. We have more than 50 universities and UFCs, like continuous university, like professional for professionals. We have 10 university centers, which is kind of less, I would say, in kind of a number of students compared to the complete university. 32 high schools or école supérieure, higher schools, where we see a lot of like a very good quality of teaching. 11 high schools for teachers, and then more than 1,400 research labs. And the number of students by 2019 was at 1,740,000 students. And the projection for 2030 is going to be around like 3 million students in Algeria, which is huge. And it's kind of very helpful if we are talking as a university, is one of the successful actor for Silicon Valley. I think for Algeria we have a good opportunity to use all these numbers or statistics, especially when it comes to youth and students and the younger professionals, to build something similar to Silicon Valley. So when we see the map of Algeria, of course, Algeria is one of is number one from the area in California, in Africa, in the continent of Africa. So it's huge. The country is huge, and then we can divide like kind of a pôle universitaire or university poles, where we can divide depending on the number of universities and schools in the north, center, east, and west, and then also the south of Algeria. So 7 on the east, 7 on the west, and 33 institutions in the north of Algeria, where we can create kind of a data center, which is going to be very helpful when it comes to data management. And this is going to be very helpful to create kind of a small Silicon Valleys, and then see which one is the most successful, and then focus more on it. So when we see Silicon Valley ecosystem, of course, Silicon Valley is the area where we have a lot of startups with more than 2,000 startups, and then number two, it's New York, Seattle, and then we can go with different cities and the different states in the US, depending on the number of companies. But Silicon Valley is still the number one when it comes to density of startups in the US. Now we need to convert to something new, which is artificial intelligence. And Silicon Valley, it's already changing the I would say the strategy to artificial intelligence, which is going to be the new electricity with all the data that we build, or big data, which is going to be the new oil. And it's good to see this impact through this book, The Age of Spiritual Machines, where we compare the compute of the machines that we have to the compute of the human being. For example, in 2050, we are going to be 9 billion people in Earth, and the compute is going to be all the human beings or all your human brains at the same time in one computer of 2050. I recommend this book to all the students that they are watching this video, because you are going to explore a lot of good stuff, and then you can compare wherever the human being brain or compute or the creation compared to whatever we have as a compute in computers. So why we have this artificial intelligence booming, and also the data that it's actually growing every day. So we have a lot of hardware and software, especially in Silicon Valley, when it comes to the different applications that we are building every day and generating, of course, data. And then also we need to be satisfying these applications with the hardware, processor, GPUs, accelerators in general. And then we are generating all this data, and it's going to be problematic. Big data is not a concept, it's not a science. Big data is a problem that we need to solve, and using different solutions. One of them is the 5G connectivity. I'm talking about high bandwidth internet, IoT, Internet of Things, computing on the edge, and then using all the artificial intelligence branches, deep learning, machine learning, and then it's going to be kind of a result, one product, a big product, which is smart city. Why I'm giving this example? Because my experience with actually the smart city was involving everything, like all the fourth generation of in the industry, at the same time all the artificial intelligence and machine learning technology with the hardware as well. So we have a big data. Just to give you an idea, every day we have an average of internet user generating data of 1.5 gigabyte. If we're talking about cloud video provider like YouTube, we are at 750 petabyte of data, which is huge. How we can take advantage of this data for business insight, operation, or operational insights and security insights. Artificial intelligence strategy. This is what we think about. We, of course, have in the US, we have a big strategy, and then all the flags that you see, we have some strategy. We can see a lot of Arab countries here, and we are really proud of their strategy. China is maybe we can say that it's one of the leaders, especially in research and development. The US, the goal is to maintain the leadership in artificial intelligence, and then we have Tunisia, one of the example, because it's kind of a neighbor country, and we are really proud that Tunisia has a good strategy of artificial intelligence. This is the proposal for artificial intelligence strategy in Algeria. Just to give you an overview very quickly, so we start with the ethic and the governance of artificial intelligence, which is the base of artificial intelligence in Algeria. And then we talk about the Bunya Tahtiya, which is the infrastructure and data center, as I showed in one of the slides about how we can dispatch the data centers in Algeria, as it's a big country that we need to take care of it. And it's a kind of a challenging factor at the same time. It's good that we have a big country, alhamdulillah. At the same time, we need to find a very good strategy where we can dispatch different data centers in different areas of Algeria. And then we need to think about the curriculum for artificial intelligence application. It's very important, and also academia, create workshop conferences with Algerian scholars, Arab scholars, even international scholars, like this week, to share this knowledge. And if we'd like a very good strategy for Algeria to be one of the pioneers, especially in Africa when it comes to artificial intelligence solutions with startups, as we have now a ministry of startups or entrepreneurship, which is very, very helpful to encourage people to develop their application, project, product solutions using artificial intelligence. And the big dream is to create this network, a big network. We call it ZAIRNet, which is Algerian network, artificial intelligence network, to connect all these universities, all these data centers, using artificial intelligence or not. The idea is to how we can conserve, how we can use our data for Algeria and protect the data as well. So this is the artificial intelligence in Algeria as a strategy. Of course, we created the first artificial intelligence. I am really proud and happy that it was in 2019 the first artificial intelligence center or excellence center with the University of Kita, which is in the east of Algeria. And because we believe that artificial intelligence will transform everything, especially that Algeria is one of the, when it comes to energy, is one of the top countries in the world, that we would like to keep this to Algeria using artificial intelligence, using a new technology or cutting edge technology, but also looking at something else, how we can take advantage of everything connected to finance, to healthcare, to retail, to government, to transport, or transportation industry in general using artificial intelligence. These are the priorities or الأولويات الوطنية في الجزائر. And this is how we can use the strategy of artificial intelligence to solve the different problems that we have in healthcare, in food security, education, oil and gas, sustainable development. We can see, especially in our time, that we have a lot of challenges, and maybe most of the countries in the world are dealing a lot with the healthcare. We saw this during the COVID-19, food security, now with all what we have in the world, and then education, just to see what are the challenges, how we can use all the data that we have to create a good citizen, a good Algerian citizen, highly educated Algerian, especially with the challenges that we have. As I said, the statistics in 2030 is going to be 3 million students. So how we can give them this good quality of education. Here we had a workshop with our scholar, Professor Belgasim Habba, Dr. Mohammed Snoussi, Dr. Riyad Baghdadi. All they are Algerian, and then we connected. I remember during Ramadan to give to Algerian people who likes artificial intelligence. المخيم الافتراضي الأول. It was virtual because of the COVID situation in June 2020. We had a lot of people, they were connected to understand, to learn more about artificial intelligence definitions at the beginning, and then people, they started asking even a good deep questions or detailed questions, and it was very, very helpful for them to take a project, work in specific product, and then we are happy that we can see some fruits, some results today. Skikda Artificial Intelligence Center, or Skylab, was the first artificial intelligence center in Algeria in 2019. And these are the goals of the Skylab, or the Center of Artificial Intelligence. Of course, it starts always with education. We had some artificial intelligence sectors. I was teaching this during like 9 months for free at this university. It was virtual. I was in Silicon Valley. I was teaching people or students in Algeria. And then we have different, now we are actually scaling out, which means that we're trying to touch different other universities, schools, which is very, very good. We have a good team within our Algeria AI, or limitless learning, to teach people. We have good teachers working in our bars. We have even I recommended to some people from Intel, my company, to teach people also in Algeria, students. Was very helpful. So Dr. Snoussi Mohammed working on embedded intelligence. He was in Paris now. He's teaching at the State University of North Dakota. And at the end, people, they passed the exam of Artificial Intelligence Academy with Intel. They have a good certificate, international certificate, very helpful. We hosted a lot of projects. One of them, or some of them, they were top, like voted as top projects in DevMesh, which is kind of a platform of Intel of all artificial intelligence projects worldwide, which is very, very helpful. So thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance, your attention, and also I would like to thank الأخت Zainab for the invitation to be part of this conference, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Bye.